Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good afternoon. And we're gathered here for the game of your life. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I want to see you put your flags up in the air right now. Sing. Oh, 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 oh. I want to hear you talk. Oh, oh, hey, I am a soldier warrior. I say win or lose, I am a fighter. I'm a soldier warrior. I come to shine my nationality brighter. I am a soldier warrior. I say win or lose, I am a fighter. I'm a soldier warrior. I come to shine my nationality brighter. We will attack, we will defend. We going to pressure them to the very end. On any opposition that we meet, hear me now, we go defeat them all defeat. We go strike with all we might. 90 minutes of red, black and white. Hear me now, anytime you see we in the uniform, to get the victories along. Well, I'm a soldier warrior. I say win or lose, I am a fighter. I'm a soldier warrior. I come to shine the nationality brighter. I am a soldier warrior. I say win or lose, I am a fighter. I'm a soldier warrior. I come to shine the nationality brighter. Show them who real out on the field. Let them know the position don't see. Every tackle, every pass. Hear me now, we have them eating up the brass. We never say it would be easy. Through the battle, Almighty God, I lead we. Hear me now, anytime you see we in the uniform, to get the victories along. So I'm a soldier warrior. I say win or lose, I am a fighter. I'm a soldier warrior. I come to shine the nationality brighter. I'm a soldier warrior. I say win or lose, I am a fighter. I'm a soldier warrior. I come to shine the nationality brighter. Oh, 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 oh. Get up your feet and take it. Oh, still in abundance, fit like a fiddle. So long we wait to hear the whistle from down the wing or through the middle. Hear me now. Every night I get a riddle. We committed to the mission, ready for any kind of situation. Hear me now. Anytime you see me in my uniform, to get the victory is enough. I'm a soldier warrior. I say win or lose, I am a fighter. I'm a soldier warrior. I come to shine the nationality brighter. I'm a soldier warrior. I say win or lose, I am a fighter. I'm a soldier warrior. I say win or lose, I am a fighter. I'm a soldier warrior. I come to shine the nationality brighter.
Yo.
Blessings, well.
Oh, you are family.
Oh, you are.
Love and respect, everybody. Welcome to the show. Black to Black, episode 7. All in always jump into the things real hot and sweaty. Today we have our guest with us, Mr. Geoffrey Edwards.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna give you have a little write-up. Mr. Edwards is a graduate of the prestigious FIFA Masters Program, International Masters in Management, Law and Humanities of Sport. Right? He is presently the International Center for Sports Studies CIES coordinator for the UE FIFA and CIES postgraduate diploma in sports management. You can tell me when I yeah. He is also the president of the Futsal Association of Trinidad and Tobago, director of the Special Olympics of Trinidad and Tobago, adjunct lecturer at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine campus and Open Campus, and the co-owner of S&W Touring Limited, a sports event management and marketing company. Well,
Your life is sports.
yeah, brother.
Yeah, boy.
So we choose the right man. Because all you know, we come to talk today, as you could see at the caption of the description of the video, is episode 7, sports and how it can impact or benefit the black community.
And before you jump in, because there's one of them episodes where I feel I want to hear we guess more than I want to hear say anything else now.
Right.
Years, no, when I tell you years, boy, I had the idea and mindset telling people that every community in this country should have sporting competitions whole year. The only time it's supposed to have rest is when your season done. Meaning you're playing football. Well, as the football done, the very next week, the space using for netball or cricket, or if it's small, we'll learn playing on a basketball court, basketball. Because what I saw growing up living next to a basketball court and a cricket field is that people, when you sweat after work in the day, you just want to go and relax, you know. And then a big part of your evening is also Karen and Tyler. Let me just say it's a small sweat.
Yeah.
2-on-2. Karen and Tyler winning 3 days straight. And me and you beat them today. A big part of we evening when that finishes what?
Banter.
I mean,
You understand? So jump in now.
So first and foremost, I want to say thank you very much to Karen and my brother here for bringing me. And I will say us because I represent the Edwards family. With a big shout out to my mom, Gloria Hyacinth Phillips Edwards, whose birthday is today.
Returns mother.
easy moms.
Would not be here without her.
Today's her birthday, is it?
Today's her birthday.
Hey, blessed earth, strong mommy.
Yeah, more life and good health.
From the Black to Black fam.
Yeah.
I know you are.
I know you are. It's interesting that we start off this show with Maximus Dan to 2006. And we are now in 2022 and we are asking the question, sport in the black community. And bear with me, guys, because I take a lot of notes. I have a lot of notes.
Yeah, man, bring things on.
Go through.
I want to be able to break it down to where it began in terms of sport generally and where we are with the notion of how it is we could use our past to fix the problem and make a better future.
All right.
So I want to start from and this is the lecturing side of me. I want to start from the point of view where big up Maximus, and I want to big up my barber, who the man's so busy I ain't even get an appointment to look good on the OUR YouTube. You know? Big up my barber. Wherever he stand.
Bless up Tyler in the house today too.
Yeah, man.
I think my barber want me to look like him with a little dreadlocks. But anyway, but yeah, services for that too. Let's do the tap.
Hey, you're saying things.
But yeah, sport is the currency of the world, in spite of what people say. The problem that we have in Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean, and I think it's a problem that exists, is that we have rum shop talk. Because one of the things that our parents spoke to us about was sport, politics, and religion are 3 things we should not get into arguments about. Right? And here it is, we are now going to delve in to one of the 3 things our parents told us not to do. So mom, bear with me, right? Well, additionally, sport is the new oil. And I want us to be able to understand that. If it is, we stop and we look at what the Middle East is doing. Countries like Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, they are literally diversifying into sporting assets and products and services. Right? So, again, as I was saying, let's just look at the definition of sport. One definition states that it is a human activity focused on physical exertion and skill with elements of competition or social participation where rules and patterns of behavior governing the activity exist formally through organization.
Right.
So they look at keywords, and I always tell my students this. Keywords: physical exertion, skill. Elements of competition or social participation, which is what I spoke about, my brother.
Yeah.
On with rules and patterns of behavior governing the activity. Now, I want to ask you a question to Ole. Ole know how cricket, football, netball reach here? Because if it is we talking sport, right? If we're talking sport in Trinidad and Tobago, sport in the black community in Trinidad and Tobago, we had to ask the question how it reach here.
Yeah.
Whatever idea what it reach here?
Well, I would think it came when with the people that brought us here and enslaved us.
More so because we had money. So which one of the colonial powers we're talking about?
The English.
The English.
Yeah.
And colonialism also brought the three things that our parents told us not to speak about. Those are the three things that colonialism spread, exported, dispersed.
Right.
Right? But most is also important to understand that the codification of sport, one of the biggest sport that we love, football, is because of the British. Right? And so we have to understand again where we come from to where we go in, because the interesting thing about sport in Britain, the extremely interesting thing about sport in Britain is from both a legal standpoint and a cultural standpoint.
Right.
In England, sport was used by the elite. Let's start with that. By the elite. Right. It is only from a recreational standpoint. Right? It's the people who had the time were able to engage in sport.
Right. Yeah.
Because everybody else works sun up to sundown. So a plantation owner, because he liked cricket, played another plantation owner. So the only time that persons in the plantation were able to engage in recreational sport, because of the fact that cricket had numbers. I can't play my 11. I don't have 11 children. So I had to bring in
11 slaves.
I had to bring in the 11 workers, 11 slaves to work.
Right.
So it became plantation versus plantation.
Right.
That was the start of sport, both competitive sport and or recreational sport.
Right.
Right? Because England was responsible for the creation and the codification of some of these sports that we know in the Caribbean, more so netball, cricket, football, yeah, and the colonization of the movement of it, the disbursement of it. We have to also understand how it came about culturally.
Right.
Right? I'm going with football here now. Football is one of these sports that, in terms of Latin America, in the 17th and 18th century, that became extremely popular. But interestingly enough is that football was a social event that only the elite could be a part of.
Right.
Stop and think about it. Only the elite could be a part of it. It eventually grew into what we know today. But Trinidad and Tobago, the Queen's Park Oval was formed in 1891.
Right.
And all of the isms, including colorism and racism,
Started.
Height.
was part of it as well.
Of course. Still is.
Right? How are we now to effect change in the black community when it is we don't even understand where we come from?
Sankofa.
Go back and fetch it.
It's also interesting to understand that Britain, and I keep going to keep focusing on Britain. Sport in the community and the terminology of sport for all came about because of the first direct legal intervention by the British state in 1937 through the Physical Training Act, which came about, which had two elements to it. the medical establishment, which is the health of the nation, due to the Great Depression.
Right.
And then sport, because of the failure of the 1936 Olympics. People might be saying, thinking, why did you go back so far? There's a reason, guys. Stay with me. I want to let this stay with me. The failures of 1936 Olympic Games saw Britain had one medal. So the English said, here we need to do better, because remember, they are fighting against other colonial powers, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And then, as I said before, they formed the Physical Training Act, where sport for all. And they want to have participation both in terms of recreation and elite. So they decided to go about with provision of facilities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But what they noticed was there was class division in sport. Because there were too many sports that were exclusive, as well as not everybody could have been involved in sport, because not everybody had the means, physical means, financial means to involve in sport, to participate in sport.
Right.
Now, let's fast forward now. And one of the studies after this was that they found that the provision of facilities does not necessarily mean that everybody going to participate. Bring it to Trinidad and Tobago, and we have plenty of facilities.
Yeah. Too much. Wasting.
So if sport for all, which by the way was also part of the strategic plan or words used by government agencies in Trinidad and Tobago, sport for all.
Right.
And we thought that the answer was, if you build it, they will come. It was shown that quite back in the 1940s, it failed in Britain, where sport
Began.
came here for us. That's why I did it historically. So why are we making the same mistakes over and over again?
Just to interject here, Sheldon Mendoza now asks, probably along that same line we're saying there, you see, how did something that was only for the elite now only be pushed to the ghettos of Trinidad as a means to fight crime and not even as an opportunity to be an international footballer?
Well, watch me now. I pull back my chair so I hear the noise. You see that I always have a problem with that, because as the president of a national sporting organization, I have a serious problem where persons don't understand the difference between sport development, sport and development, and sport for development. Do not use your modus operandi of your political innuendos, activities, and use the backs of young men who are deprived for your own gain.
Jeez, brother, if I was sitting down by the thing, find a bomb, find something on that body. And on top of that, we have so many programs, for Port of Spain East. Are you saying that it's only Port of Spain East have deprived youth, and sport is the only way? Sport is inherently good, but there's a dark side to sport, because at the end of the day, the persons who participate in sport and the person who lead sport are just that, human beings. Right? And it's important that you understand what it is you do to get involved. It is not a matter. Sport is not supposed to be for one group of persons, both in terms of elite and also for the ghetto. It is supposed to be for everybody. That's right.
Right?
So you come and you build a pool in the place and we can use it.
Right.
We'll get to that.
Right? You'll get to that. But I want to add another terminology in this.
Yeah, right.
Physical education.
PE.
Physical education is referred to as any extracurricular sport or physical activity in which students participate throughout their school term, period, existence. PE started off by Frederick Ludwig Jahn in 1811, where he built the first gymnasium in Berlin, Germany. In 1813, it was added to by the Swedish professor Peter Ling, which he saw the benefits of gymnastics.
Right.
And later on, many of the European nations fulfilled this, continued this movement. Why? Because at that point in time, Sweden and Germany were rebuilding their nation. And they saw the benefits of a sound mind and body through sport. They saw that they can rebuild their nation because or by, I should say, the involvement of structured activity in the school system. Not just a matter about recreational sport,
right,
but in the school system, because you're now talking about the mindset of
and the theory
and the practical, the joining of them, the marrying of them. So again, I keep going all the back and forth, right? History and present. Ask yourself the question:
why are we still making the same mistake?
Not only that, but how effective is our PE system?
Brother, that is only now becoming a subject that people could do for CXC.
No, but forget about subject. How effective is our PE system in changing the mindset of our nation youth? You remember what I said to you? Germany, Sweden, and other nations saw the benefits of gymnastics and physical education in their school system to help rebuild their countries.
Then we want to know why them leading things.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, because China doing the same thing.
Thank you very much.
Japan doing the same thing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So why we seem to only be getting or following the ideals of one place,
but we ain't even following it.
And it's something is asked a whole lot, because you see how much countries you could talk about that doing certain things that working or seem to be working that we ain't following at all.
So.
Come on, it's like I say.
People want to figure out why the elite remain the elite.
Right.
In England, rugby started off as the sport to be able to help young men become boys. Yeah. But more so, sport was used to be able to mold.
Or young boys become men.
Or young boys become men, sorry. My apologies. Thank you very much for that. Sport was used to be able to mold and shape the elite.
Right.
They didn't even understand that the general public, and this happened in Argentina as well, right? Argentina, Uruguay, and then Brazil were the export of football. They really didn't expect that the greater nation as a whole would have caught up with sport and what sport meant. But sport initially was used to be able to mold the elite men of society, because they saw that, and this is, I know that there may be females listening, but understand I'm talking about historically, it was used to mold the minds and the lives of the young elite.
Like Taika saying, children cannot even run in school during break.
Thank you very much. But hear what? I went to Presentation College San Fernando. I went to St. Mary's College. And I also went to Shogunas North Secondary, what is known as Shogunas North Secondary now.
Right.
And I can tell you from my experience, there's a vast difference in terms of sporting expectation, resources, allocation of resources, support by parents, support by the administration when it comes to sport. In Presentation College San Fernando, Brother Michael, as a leader, saw the importance of sport and the holistic development of a student. Right?
Right.
The only thing that we didn't have was a swimming pool at the school. We had tennis courts plural. We had a squash court, badminton, cricket, football, athletics. If we wanted to swim at that point in time, we had a very close relation because of parents to go to Petritrin Pool. Go back now to CIC.
Right.
CIC have their own pool. CIC have a full ground. CIC have programs, after school programs. So even if it is you don't have the facilities in school, there are programs involved. Take that same experience that I had in Shogunas North.
Nothing.
Back then at Shogunas Senior Secondary. The only thing we had structured at that point in time was a lunchtime sweat.
Created by all you.
You understand what I'm saying?
So go ahead because
so I want us to understand.
But the elitism still exists then.
Thank you very much, because they're using sport to be able to mold us.
Yeah. Which is why everybody want a child to pass for the prestige school.
So that's why I gotta jump in there with this now, that we still buy into the prestige school mentality, right? And because we still buy into that prestige school mentality, and one of the things is classism. Because we know what's going on in them so-called prestige schools. And why wouldn't you want your child to be involved with that. But I don't see people pushing, and we've been speaking on this. The first serious conversation I remember on this with some friends is 2015, when one of them child passed common entrance. My child passed for a good school. So I'm asking, so what does that mean? If the child didn't pass for that particular school or get assigned to that particular school, would you have put the burden on the child that they go into a bad school? You put that mental, because you don't know, the child know.
Yeah.
You know when you pass for a certain school, you know. Imagine your parent coming out to tell you, well, that's cool, boy. And why is it that the government who funding these things is not funded the same way across the board? That's what I tell them.
Classism,
and you go from here.
elitism.
We will come to that in a little bit. But
I tell them, every creed and race and every community, village, I don't know how you want to describe it, don't find an equal place in Trinidad. Carry on, brother.
The interesting thing about that conversation is in 2019 we had a FIFA futsal coaching course and grassroots festival, and the lead instructor asked the question as to what divides Trinidad and Tobago. And this is in the car heading to dinner. And the one person initially said race. And after discussion, the common answer was actually class.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the truth.
Because the first thing that in a conversation with anybody, in the top 10 questions that is asked is what school they went to. You are defined by what school you went to.
I went success, take that all you will.
Right? and with that, even persons who went to, and I've seen it happen many times, even persons who did not go to quote-unquote a prestigious school try to align themselves sometime in their life with somebody who
did, yeah.
They try to. They
almost my whole network is college boys.
You understand? They try somehow to, right? But that is, I don't want to drift too much from it, but I want to bring it back to the sporting aspect of it. So now we have a situation where a young person who is not necessarily going to a quote-unquote prestigious school,
right,
doesn't have a proper physical education program. Sport in his community is non-existent.
Except for a sweat that is not structured.
Sometimes even a sweat, because there are some communities right now, given the crime, they can't even go and sweat.
Yeah.
So you don't have a structured program, right, that will help develop the individual for the nation, as I mentioned, historically, to physical education. And you don't have a structured program outside. And I say structured program both in terms of formal and informal, noting what the definition of sport is. So then what happens with this young person? Then what happens with this young person? Let's switch the conversation a little bit. Let's deal with parents. Parents who have an issue with not understanding that even the elites then and now see the importance of sport. Right? Even the elites then and now. They have them involved in multiple sports. There's something called long-term athletic development, which under the age of 13 and 14, you're supposed to have a child involved with multiple sports. Right? Not one. And inadvertently, we were the same way, because when it's football season, we playing football. Whether you're good or not, you're playing football.
Yeah.
When it's for cricket season, whether you're good or not, you're pelting a ball. And whether you're good or not, you have a basketball, you take a, whether you're good or not. You learn to swim in the sea, whether you're good or not. The fact is, you know how to play the sport.
Yeah.
You know how to involve in that particular sport. Right now, we have two scenarios happening when it comes to parents. We have parents who are getting their children involved in specialized sports too young, one sport at a time, one discipline at a time, and their parents who are not getting their children involved in sports at all, because they're saying that my child, sport have no money. Forget about the money aspect. Because forget about the money aspect. Think about what sport can do for your child.
Yeah.
The worst thing is to have an adult who is socially inapt because they can't even speak to sport. It will be involved in sport. Because even if that they get in golf later on in life, that is a sport.
Yeah. Boring as it is.
As born, well, I thought so until I went Saudi. It isn't actually. Yeah, boy.
It's not born to play it.
I'd take your word for that.
No, it isn't born to watch either.
I'd take your word
All right,
for that.
brother.
Yeah, no. But you know,
I wouldn't doubt your word.
if we had this conversation last year, if we had this conversation last year, K,
Yeah, on my
That's the
side.
same
I was on your side.
Well, let me tell you why I wouldn't doubt that, right? Some years ago, I went on, never thought I'd do it. I went and watched cycling.
Yes.
But I think it's real exciting, boy. Especially them sprints and them.
Yeah.
But I tell you, June, July, August period, right? When I work on a rig, when I was, because we used to work on, I know that, Karen, I used to work on the offshore. And if I do a stint in Scotland, the only, when I go to sleep or trying to sleep, is Sky Sports.
Right.
And sometimes you ain't find no football, you might be finding that championship.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And big pool and big snooker.
Snooker, yeah.
So my love for sport, or I should say my love for sport increased, expanded because of me being forced to look at. And
Everything.
interesting enough is we need to expand our horizons, whether we want to or not, as regards to our love for sport. That's my opinion. That's my humble opinion, experience.
Well, we
But-
could take
but
your
we-
opinion for a little bit, you know.
Yeah. For
Based
sure.
on your qualification and experience.
You could talk to it.
Yeah, you could. But I agree. Go ahead.
I am with regards to what you're saying, the 2 points you made just now with regards to the parents only having the child involved in one sport, specialized sport, and then not having them in anything at all.
Yes.
I am in a predicament now because my son asking me to play cricket. So now it's money.
I want to understand why you say you're in a predicament. Why you use that?
Because I have 4 children, brother.
All right.
Right.
How old is the child?
He's 9.
And he playing basketball.
And he
already.
playing basketball already.
That, honestly speaking, again using that terminology for those who may be joining us now or get it or it didn't pass them. Long-term athletic development states that your child under the age of 14 is supposed to be in multiple sports. And it doesn't necessarily mean, Karen, that you have to go and get him involved in a club,
QPCC.
No.
Nah, it's Rosary.
It just simply means that try and
Wetty
get the
foot, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, dip.
Yes. So as for futsal, right? When our academy starts, a shameless plug, by the way.
Nah, man, plug up the thing now, man.
When our academy starts, is to be able to have the children under the age of 14 be a part of futsal, football, basketball, swimming, netball.
Cricket.
No, not cricket.
Not cricket.
And maybe handball. So I'll tell you why. Basketball, netball, handball, and football actually all come together to make futsal because of your usage of the space. Yes?
Yeah.
We're going to add athletics and swimming because the training athletics helps develop your cardio,
Explosiveness.
changing directions, changing speed, changing directions quickly, and then swimming obviously long capacity. So if it is you look at it from that standpoint, you're not only helping the athlete who then at a certain age decides what sport they want to get involved in from a specialization standpoint, which is what countries like Brazil are doing, as a matter of fact. But it also helps your child later on in life that they could be able to look, I know how to swim. I could take a little jog. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's more than just you and what you want.
Yeah.
It's being able to learn.
Well, you have me thinking different, because I mean, as much as, the thing, the reality is he might go and play that. No, he's play cricket home, eh?
Right.
And he mother, we watch T20 and them
Right.
things. So we know the brother like it.
You see?
Right? So I'll game a blind.
Right.
Because I know chances are he might love it.
Yes.
Or by Friday he said, Daddy, I go do that,
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So I could live with that.
Yes.
Right? But we have a question here from Taika. Half of the Jamets. You don't have to play the sport one time. What about going to watch the sport you're interested in?
So that kind of thing into what I had in my mind.
Right.
Another aspect of sports is the ability this give you to interact.
Social element.
Seeing children today sitting down home playing on a game on a phone whole day, and you bring them outside, and they turn to a kind of zombie.
Yeah, because they don't know how to act.
Even interact now, but I remember I have fond memories of friends coming and banging down my wall. Hey, sweat start, boy.
What you doing?
You understand? I remember running home from school. I was telling Tyler that this morning, that time my grandfather used to tell me, you don't live here. You only eat, sleep, and shit here. Because I get up in the morning,
And
I
you're
go
going
to school.
Yeah.
I come home from school. I eat. I probably use the washroom. And I go into sweat. When I come back from sweat with about 30 people or more at a time,
Yeah.
and we sit down and talk after. When I come back from sweat, Grandpa go and watch news, panorama at that time, till 8 o'clock. And when 8 o'clock, he go in the bed. He wanted that time to...
I want to ask listeners and viewers of the show how they felt walking past, driving past any sporting facility and seeing it empty during the COVID-19 period. Whether it is it could use it in terms of play on it, or you go to watch. So I want to answer the question directly. Is that even watching, and you were quite correct, even watching sport and watching live sport, making it a family outing is an education. And it's very important that our black community understand how we can be able to create bond through sport. This is my forte, this is my love, so I could talk about sport. The other guests will speak to other ways of creating that bond. But nothing better than when it is I have my dad, my son, 3 generations of Edwards men watching football and criticizing.
Bacala.
And you understand?
What's the trio? Let's choose the front team or let's support it.
I took my son to the Chelsea Football Club. Yeah, no.
You just want to spoil my day.
Right? The man, no, I didn't even know the man is such a big Chelsea fan. Because I end up being the man personal gopher for that day with the phone in terms of camera and foot. You know,
Yeah.
But to see the excitement, you understand what I'm saying? A memory. I think we could have pick up and done the trip one time and go back home. That was
He good.
Yeah.
And we had to understand it in terms of all of these things taken. I remember my love for sport came from my dad. It was 5 of us.
Yeah.
Right? And before my little sister and my little brother, the youngest 2, were born, it was 3 of us, and my dad had one in the left hand, one in the right hand, and me on the neck. I'm the third. And we going down to the savannah. So even while he playing with his brethren and them, we were nearby in the field, in the savannah, sweating, or running around.
Yeah.
And that was also time for mommy to rest.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So by the time we reach home, it's just a shower and we go and sleep. And then they have their adult time. But at the same point in time, people don't understand that
How much thing happening there?
You much thing happening there? My love for sport came from there. Olive Brothers, I tell you, when I graduated in Switzerland a month before graduation, I broke down in the room recognizing where my love for sport come from. I say enough for being on a rig and just being a number and taking my love to sport to a different level. And I called my dad immediately because that is the impact. He served God by serving me.
Right.
By giving me that love. My love didn't come just like that. Every single pot knock when it comes to sport, he taking the boys.
Yeah. And look like I say sport is not just playing. There are many more opportunities in sport for employment. It's a whole economy.
See, we getting
going
there,
too far.
No, we
Moving too fast.
No, you see, and that's the thing about it. We need, so as a lecturer at the University of West Indies, both open campus and St. Augustine campus, we have been fooled too many times by the powers that be and individuals who don't know that sport in the Caribbean cannot make money.
How you could say that?
We have a lot of graduates who are not here in Trinidad and Tobago but abroad making that cheddar.
The same cheddar you can't make here?
The same cheddar you can't make here, but they actually graduated. Yes, some of them graduated from UTT. There's one individual who graduated from UTT and the China, part of the China's national team.
What?
The China's national team.
China of all places.
China.
Wow.
We have a lot of exports, just like the oil and gas, whereby we export across the world. We have a lot of sport and exports, not only in terms of athletes, but in terms of sport administrators, officials, technocrats, practitioners. We have a lot. Right? The issue is we are not taking time to understand what we have and how we can be able to make use of that, which leads me directly into the point of political influence in sport. Let me go back to historical context.
Before you start that, right?
Go ahead, my brother.
One of the listeners respond to your question about how you felt when you pass and see the things and them empty now. And he say, we actually felt crushed seeing the empty fields, the loss of interactions with each other, and seeing how fast or sudden an activity could be removed from us.
Correct.
Top fan.
And not only that, but we could actually now look at how that affects us, because 3 years ago, if we had this conversation then, we could never say, boy, I wonder how it will look if it is within our sports, boy. Because we'd have taken it for granted.
Yeah.
But now we know.
But now we know based on experience. Right? Which is very, very, very important that we take that lesson for ourselves, but also pass it on to our children, that we cannot take for granted our freedom and how it is we can use the open air to be able to expand our lungs and be able to exercise. And I see that thing called exercise. I'll go and speak about that in a little later, because sport in our black community has a medical component to it that we are missing. That we are missing it.
Now we could talk to that. He was asthmatic. Yeah, when last you got asthma.
See, you understand?
Yeah.
But it's a serious thing, and we have to look at that. So please don't let me
won't forget
that, right?
Yeah.
But I want to adjust the politics a little bit here now, because sports and politics goes hand in hand. A lot of persons don't want to admit it. In the educational framework, in the international framework, as we spoke about colonialism, in the health framework, most ministries, have a sport component to it. With that being said, I want to bring ourselves back to the Cold War, US-Russia, 1970s, 1980s. That Cold War extended into sport. Anybody who remember the 80s and the Olympics of the two Olympics of the 80s, the Cold War, even in the 70s, as a matter of fact, the Cold War extended into it.
Right.
Yeah. 1992, the formation of the English Premier League came about because of political involvement. Why? Because hooliganism was rampant, and they said enough is enough. Yeah. And a business opportunity with the big five clubs presented themselves and moved forward. So in spite of what we want to believe, sport and politics is married. So
Unfortunately.
Or fortunately. But what is very interesting in my studies is this important statement. Who does sport get it, whilst those who do not don't. Who does sport gets it.
Serious.
While who doesn't do it, they don't.
Yeah.
So if you have a minister and or an individual in high ranking of power, decision-making power, who doesn't have an affinity to sport, we have a serious problem.
But that's not rocket science?
So, no, it's not rocket science, and there's a lot of things that we're going to say not rocket science, but the problem is it's happening. So, you say that, but Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady, she didn't like sports, and it showed in terms of England's performance.
During her tenure.
And right after, the person who loves, the next Prime Minister, followed by Tony Blair, who loves sport, you saw the resurgence of, which led to the 2012 Olympic Games, right? But as I said before, this is very important for us to understand. That simple statement of affinity to sport will help us understand why we are in the position we are. We now have to do a human resource needs assessment to find out on a personal level how much of them actually like sport.
I'm gonna ask you a question based
And
on
not
that
just
now,
not just a tick box.
right? Because sometimes it is find that too harsh now, right? Is it too much to ask that the Minister of Works has some kind of background in construction or something like that,
Engineering,
right? That's too much to ask.
apparently,
And
it
the
is.
next one they tell me like, oh, you're targeting the man directly. I say, but when they're doing that to us, we don't think. The Minister of Sports, bigger than me, and I know small fella.
Yeah.
And nothing about your movement and the things you say shows that
Yeah,
that you're
athletic.
staying in. Not just athletic, because I know some big fellas can move, But nothing about your body language or nothing shows that you're the same thing as
Our
just saying.
president minister.
Well, I don't know if he's still the minister.
No. So let me correct you one time. That is the former minister you're talking about.
Right, yeah.
Okay. The
Right,
former
what I'm saying,
minister.
but what I'm saying now, that same
Former
thing you're
minister.
saying then or not.
Right.
I would want to see,
Yeah.
and we would see it in the things you do and the policies you put forward, that you're into sport. You wouldn't, the things we see going on in the community now are saying, well, like somebody listening to my boy. Because I see right now the regional corporations have a set of tournaments going on.
No, that's because elections coming up.
You understand? So you see what we can say? I want to see,
You see that tournament thing? We will come to that just now.
right? I'm saying, how is it that I tell people now, I do like to talk about health now. You imagine I come in to tell you what you say that why really? I come in to tell you about see this product here. If you use this for 2 weeks, you lose 15 pounds.
And you'll be the healthiest thing on the planet.
You understand? So I equate that to your minister of sport. Big like the doorway. You don't hear him talk passionately like how you say your son went to Stamford Bridge and that blow your mind. You never hear the minister of sport talking in no kind of way about none of the teams, sport in general.
Passion for it.
So brothers, we not going to hold back, right?
No.
But at the same point in
Hold
time,
back
we
nothing.
have to be fair. We have to be fair to it. The former minister of sport, right?
Name.
The former minister of sport, the male former minister of sport, was actually a well-known footballer,
Right.
right? The present minister of sport, she admitted that she doesn't know much about sport, but I have to give credit to her because she, in her personal lifestyle, as well as, in her personal secret, and I twisted, she is learning, and she's learning quickly,
All right.
right? She's learning
Yeah,
quickly.
see, she was in the cricket.
She's like, not even cricket, but she's learning quickly. But the problem is,
Come on, say.
for me, is the technocrats around,
Yeah.
the advisors to be able to drive sport in our country.
Right.
Because these individuals, as much as we want to criticize them, which I hear your point, they are one person who also rely on technocrats. And one of the things that we have to understand about sport is the educational component of it, because you can't tell me that you want to be a doctor and you don't you're not
In sport.
you're not educated into medicine. You want to be a lawyer, not educated into the legal practices,
Right.
And sport is a discipline that you have to be educated.
Right.
But sport is also a doing activity.
Yes.
A doing industry. And many times what we have are individuals who do not know how to marry both the knowledge and the actual getting up and doing.
Yeah.
And many times the persons on the ground, there are a lot of persons on the ground who are doing, but don't even get the opportunity to be a part of a think tank to be able to help drive policies and procedures.
Like the man from La Hoqueta.
Right, exactly, because now you have individuals who are accustomed in spending other people's money making decisions, but they do who knows it, feels it, you know. Who knows it, feels it. And I will ask the question, if many of them even understand the history of sport and physical education, which we addressed today, that they can say, wait now, if this is a history that governs the world that
Right.
we are part of, how can we use that history to make change in our communities?
So we know they don't.
That is
Know
the
that for
problem.
sure. Because we have never heard none of these things here from anybody in a sporting ministry in Trinidad and Tobago. We have never heard that. So,
no, well, if the Minister of National Security could say that crime is not your work, what the sporting minister go and tell me?
True.
What she go and tell me? Look, a man say here, your bio and your resume qualifies you for most other jobs except for the one who runs the country.
Well, I ain't too sure about that one because I'm a geologist as well. So,
oh God! Oh!
it's just that Kevin didn't read that part of the.
I didn't go down for that.
Yes, sir.
Are you throwing?
Me and my boy Patos and.
Are you throwing your hat in the ring?
No.
They're coming right today. All right, okay. All right, nice. You know what? Look, somebody say, and it's truth, eh? Based on the fact that, again, there's what competition is doing. Taika say gymnastics was fired during the Cold War. Why? Something you're saying too? Because these two people was against one another.
Yes.
And a way to prove that I better than you.
It's true sport.
Even to this day, gymnastics, when it comes to Russia and USA, is a
problem.
Big thing.
Yeah.
And if anybody was to do research as regards to sport and the Cold War, they'll understand. Ted Turner did the Goodwill Games. Right? He created a business opportunity out of the Cold War. The Goodwill Games. Right? It's what you mean. There's so much dynamics in sport that is very interesting. So we deal with some more of the politics. Now, the politics is the overarching. And I spoke as regards to the elites. I spoke as regards to government structure. Now, let's talk about communities. Because one of the things that you started off with is there's supposed to be competitions throughout. You all remember Village Olympics?
No.
We used to have Village Olympics. We used to have Village Olympics both for sporting and anybody on the chat, please do tell me if you remember it. We used to have Village Olympics and Best Village. Village Olympics was for the sporting activity and Best Village, as we all know, is for the cultural component of it. Village Olympics helped to be able to showcase the sporting accolades of the young men and women in your particular village. This was a government program. But more so, even without the government, how can we, as the people in the community, be able to help rebuild young men and women with the aptitude of being great citizens, not good, great citizens using sport? One of the interesting things that we have to be very wary of, which is happening right now in a particular sport, is in order to be recognized or even selected, right, by the West Indies Cricket Board, most great cricketers, young cricketers, are leaving their communities and going to play with Queen's Park.
That is
so
absurd.
when you have that talent drain, right, what is happening to communities?
There's nobody there.
Right. Now, okay, that's happening. But what are we going to do to stymie that flow and think about the bigger picture of rebuilding our communities? We have to have leaders, true community leaders, not what is defined and described on the newspapers, who will understand, going back to our 1831 and 1833 scenarios, the importance of sport for the development of young men and women, mind, body, and soul, for the greater good of. These individuals were creating armies, One gymnastic class at a time, they were creating armies, to help defend Mother Germany and Mother Sweden, How are we going to create armies to help defend our sovereign country, Trinidad and Tobago, by making us men and women of the elite? And not elite in terms of status, but elite in terms of mindset. So we first and foremost have to get that. Our leaders have to create formal and informal programs that is a long-term. And we have different types of leadership styles, we know this, but it's long-term development. It starts with that.
A big failure to me as an individual watching on from the outside. See that song where we started the program with today?
Yeah.
The events that cause Maximus Dan MX Prime to write that song that evokes so much national pride. We dropped that ball, and that ball was made out of glass, and it break and shatter. We dropped that ball real bad when it comes to building
Right.
on what is happening there.
But remember, this program is one of the steps to be able to help rebuild.
Right.
Because again, going back to 1937 in Britain with the Physical Training Act, this came about as a result of they going to the Olympics and only getting one medal. So what I'm saying is that most time change and effective change comes about when it is we in the doldrums.
Well, is the time now?
And the time is now.
Ashe.
The time is now whereby we can be able to sit down together, and that's why I spoke about speaking about communities now. But we spoke about the government, we spoke about the parents, we spoke about politics and politicians. Everybody have to do their part in the vineyard, and even if one person is not supporting your part in the vineyard, you have to continue, because my father did his duty. And I'm here today as a product of him.
Yeah.
So even if, and Karen, you doing it with your children, even if the government is not doing it, even if the community is not doing it, parents, we have, and uncles, aunts.
Yeah.
If it is your brother, your sister not taking the children out in sports, you volunteer your time. Service to God is service to man. And stop saying, here we're going on, and when it is I get time, I go do it.
Where you get any time from?
Well, we can make
It's insane.
It's
is in ourselves and our children.
Yep.
And the black community need to understand that that's the best investment. Too many times, the nodal points of Trinidad and Tobago on a weekend, Arima, Shogunas, San Fernando, Scarborough is filled with our young black men in a bar, away from home,
On our corner.
on a corner.
I want to
That
shout
speaks
out.
volume.
Yeah, well, I want to shout out because you talk about we doing it and not waiting now. So I see my brother Jason partner jump in here. And them fellas and them have a sweat in the savannah that doing what we expect them things to do, which is bringing out members of the community. We turn into a competition.
This bring back Belmont.
We turn into a competition. When I went for Easter, I can't believe I say, "We're making this thing sound like it's something small, but look at this." You understand? I know of 2 cups so far. I had one for Easter and one after. But I was very, very impressed. Right? So, Jason, you up yourself.
Congratulations, Jason. One of the things I want to say to that, Jason, and anybody else
And
who's
the ball in
listening,
contact, you know? Yeah.
is we're not battling with other sporting entities or organizations.
No.
We're battling with the culture of Trinidad and Tobago, which is wine, woman, and song. Our party culture.
Brother, listen.
So, Karen, I know you have played this table. Just give me a minute with this one.
Go ahead.
So, I speak to the marketing team at Futsal Association. I always say to them, guys, when we putting out something, we got to put out something of quality. Right? This weekend alone, you have 2 big events. And the radio is flooded.
Yeah.
Social media is flooded.
Gorilla.
Right? When it is, so my brother, what is his name? What's his name?
Jason.
Jason partner.
I need you to get your team to flood social media as best as you can with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because if it is, we're not seeing it, it don't exist.
It doesn't exist.
And that's why I keep saying we're not battling. We are not battling with each other, you know, in terms of sports, you know.
Yeah.
We're battling with culture, and we know for us to change culture, we have to make the young persons like Tyler them to be able to see, hey, because I did a little informal thing. Tyler, you know about Tribe?
Yeah.
Tyler, you know about Futsal 868? Exactly. Then that means I had to go back to my team and say, what's going on here?
Because he's 21.
Correct.
Yeah.
You
I know
understand,
that-
what,
know
you
that.
understand, you understand what I said? I know how to go back to my team and say, hey, what can we do to be able to get Tyler and his generation to know more about this sport and the brand?
A big aspect of that is something you touch on and anything going to find is we culture and we mindset. So when we say support, it is only seem to feel when it coming from somebody like me. Sorry, I talking about business support, my business now. And everybody say you only talking them thing about support because you in a business now. But then when you get involved in something, you realize, yo, the supporting real boy because it's lacking.
Yeah, but we see that. We see that for Fiesta. We see that the trio we went, and well, you was there too, and we see what that doing.
That's what I'm saying. But if look Tyler, we do a case study just now there. If Tyler don't know anything about futsal 868,
then
how am I supposed to enact change?
Yeah.
Yes, it's little bit, but I have to be now conscious of the fact that
everything you do,
I had to be able to get. I know how to be able to get Tyler.
So one of the things that you touched on just now, and he just touched on it as well, Andre, with regards to mindset in the communities, right? On a country level, just this morning I was burning some fire on Facebook.
Hey, we're going to do that now.
Right? Yeah, no, we have 15 minutes to the end of the segment. We go do it, right? But I am pleading with people, boy. There is a acceptance of mediocrity that we reach to here that's very disturbing, right? It's disturbing because I don't understand it. I am not an American. I born and grew in Trinidad, right? But I could see when you talk about Germany, you talk about Sweden, you talk about China, you talk about Japan. These countries are where they are because of their mentality, and their mindset, right? So when I sit down, because I'm training in sports, and when I go, I don't want to knock my son team, right? But when I look at the manner in which in training, the children, everything just cool, we bounce any ball, do this, okay, and you run, you take a little time and you go on. But then, and it happened to me because when I experienced Royalty Basketball Academy for the first time, it was scary. Because when I see them fellas and them training, this was the first tournament he had in Diego Martin when Gavin had his small tournament in Ravine Road, right?
Big up to Gavin Warwick.
Yeah, big up Gavin and the Spartans family, right? When I see Spartans training and then I see Royalty lineup, I say, nah, boy, I ain't feel we could be that team. And the star boy is about 6. He about this, tall. He had Fiesta hot. Let's call him Baby Curry. But I'm saying, this, what's the stark difference to me? The intensity and the mentality of the children, then nobody can be them. Because before them even reach on the court, partner, you seen it in their body language. The body language speaks to the mindset. So we reach a place now in Trinidad where you say the party culture, drink and junk and wine and everything cool. But when that done, and you come back to reality now, and you start dealing and interacting on different levels with the ID card office, the driver's permit licensing authority, Ministry of Works, county council, you realize why, from the ground level and from the top, why it is the country in the position it's in.
We have no redress.
And there is no redress because who we going to get to change if the CEO come into work 10 o'clock?
It's interesting that you mention that because there's another case study done literally within the last 5 years of Iceland, the throne in Trinidad and Tobago of being the youngest country to qualify for the World Cup, right? The FIFA World Cup. And the report stated that Iceland was going through a period of teenage alcoholism and societal ills that was very uncommon for a Nordic society.
Right.
And if anybody understands the Nordic society, they're very disciplined. They're very straight. They're very straight to the point. And one of the things that they did to be able to help rebuild their society, change the landscape of their society, was sport. Iceland's exquisite form in the European Championship a few years ago that everybody now knows, the Icelandic clap, yes, was given the fact that you had that team made up of what they known as semi-professionals.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right? Persons who were working. Even the coach was a dentist.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right?
I remember that.
Right? But it was the mindset to
Right.
win, as you spoke about.
Yeah.
But that came about both from a top-down and a bottom-up approach. Top-down from a national standpoint in terms of policy making, and bottom-up from in terms of the families and the communities taking responsibility for what they deem as betterment. What they wanted in terms of betterment, and how sport could have been used to change the landscape, and which led them to qualifying for the biggest sporting single sport event in the world, the World Cup, and showcasing who they are, whereby now the Icelandic clap is known worldwide. Think about that.
We have a voice note to play here.
Yeah.
From Mr. Ika.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, big brothers. Good afternoon. Enjoying the program. I'm running a little Zoom meeting here, but I still must send a voice note real quick. You know, in terms of the marketing of sport and reviving the love and the energy, simple things is really work. You know, I remember as a child getting my cornflakes boxes, and inside the cornflakes box used to have cards, like how in the US you have baseball cards. There were cricket cards with the stars of the West Indies cricket team at that time, and at the back had their stats and their run rate, and if there's a left-handed batsman, if there's a bowler, if there's a spin bowler. That really concretize my love and appreciation for cricket and for cricketers. I mean, I watched a test match as a child. You know, you're spending them days dedicated to going by the TV and watching and seeing what was happening with your team. Simple things like that. And that also for me has always been like, but I don't know who playing on these Soca Warriors. Who's these people? I don't know. I don't know them. Where they come from. We've not been introduced or reintroduced to the teams that represent us. So we don't have any connection with them. We don't have any investment because we don't know them. We don't know their stories. We don't know where they come from. It's those simple things for me, I think, is what will bring back the love and the appreciation and the patriotism and the love of Trinidad and Tobago via the sports. Love this conversation. I know my co-host might be a little confused because she's not a sporting person. But I locked in with you guys. Big love, big love, big love.
Thank you, Taika. Thank you.
Queen Taika,
yeah.
I want to say to you that is not a small contribution. That's a huge contribution. Brothers, Kings, let me tell you why that's a huge contribution. Because when she said that, I get shivers.
Yeah.
Because the Milo box,
Brother,
at one time used to have people like Anthony Sherwood from Presentation College San Fernando, Arnold Dwerker from Mallet, right? On the Milo
On
box.
the East Corridor, he was a legend.
legend, boy.
Exactly. And the thing about it is that you had Mickey Chotman.
Yeah.
Right? We knew, as she said, we knew the players in secondary school football league.
Yeah.
Now we know the teams. We don't even know the players.
Yeah.
And from a marketing standpoint, you are quite correct. How are you now going to be able to connect with the community? Let's speak to that some more. During the COVID-19, when you think about it from a media standpoint, there was limited noise from our culture, meaning we didn't have party promoters to deal with.
Yeah.
How many national sporting organizations use the opportunity to connect with the people? How many national sporting organizations took the opportunity to redo their strategic plan? How many national sporting organizations say, here what's going on? How I could be able to go into a community, even if it's one, and be able to say, this is who we are. Even from a marketing standpoint, and we want to say we was copy, right? But the NBA, which is the marketing giant of the world, I don't care what anybody say, the NBA is the boss when it comes to marketing.
Yeah.
They do marketing of both teams and players.
Yeah.
Right? And we have to be very mindful of that. Let's take it back home. The Ascension Football League, which was held, right, or one of the first national return to play activities, did an extremely great job. But one of the things that they did was they married sport and entertainment.
Entertainment, yeah.
Even though, And some people might say, but Geoffrey kind of contradicting yourself. Because what they did was they had some of the local artists and DJs for the after party.
Yeah.
But at the same point in time, the event was so big that in order for you to get a space, you had to come early. So you had to see the game.
That's right.
In marketing, that is awareness.
It is.
So what they have done is put you on the base of the escalator. Once you get on that escalator,
and it start to move. Yeah.
There's only one way you're going up and up.
Yeah.
Right? And so you're moving from awareness now to loyalty.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
so
because that league very big, eh?
No, you understand? Tyler, you nobody Ascension Football League. You understand? Tyler, nobody Ascension Football League, right? So that says a lot.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
So marketing in sport is very important. And what they have done is bridge that gap. They know the cultural nuances of Trinidad and Tobago, and they use it to their advantage. They use it to their advantage, and we have to be able to do that. Now they can be able to add value to that conversation. Now that you have the league, you have the teams. Now let's focus on the players. Now let's get the players into the minds and hearts of the viewers in terms of who they are, what is their story, etc., etc., etc. Queen, you have hit a very strong point. I don't know, small point. That's a very strong point in terms of sport marketing and how we can be able to use that in our communities. Because it's a simple thing as our communities. Let's take it to our communities.
Yeah.
How do we get our communities to support young men and women who are doing extremely well in sport and by extension promoting where they come from?
So let me just jump in here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
want
because
to
you
read-
have some ideas.
I want to read 2 comments, but before I read that, I want to tell them, just to show the difference in mindset, even though we just do it outside of Trinidad, when in Trinidad. The English Premier League is touted as the best league in the world, right? But I'm going to take him on because, yeah, right? But here what's going on now? It's community football.
It is.
It is.
No
The
matter how you
English
twist it
Premier
and turn
League
it.
And any football league that we tune into is a community football league. So
All
you're
leagues.
supporting the teams from Manchester, you're supporting the team from Chelsea, you're supporting the team from North London, West London, wherever, right? Right. Somebody say something here that I have a living experience with. He say, based on what you say about Iceland, that Iceland, the Icelandic football provided jobs within the tongue or for members of the team. Right? If persons are paid a living wage, so that the person could be paid a living wage now. So community is completely involved in the development of the sport. I want to say this. There was a year, I cannot recall the year right now. We had played in the Gold Cup. It was in America. We get knocked out, I think, in the first round. So let me just say the Thursday or the Friday the Wednesday or something, so I watching the match on TV. Because that wasn't too long after World Cup. So it still had a little hype now. This Saturday, I go into Arima in a Maxi on the bus shoot, and I saw one of our national defenders who just played in the World Cup, who went to school with my little sister, sitting down on the bridge opposite the Tunapuna Cemetery waiting for a Maxi. This man just represents Trinidad and Tobago. A few days before, we don't take care of these people and them. I always remember Dwayne Bravo before he was who he is today. I remember him complaining because I used to tell them, this is how I used to read our papers when I used to buy papers every day. From the back, right? And I remember he complaining that he got injured while representing West Indies. And they sent him home and he had to take care of himself. You know,
Rubbish.
so we ain't doing that now. Sheldon, the next comment I wanted to think, Sheldon Mendoza said some years ago I did a proposal to a certain top football association in TNT to do player profiles where we would show the other side of the footballers if they cook, sing, etc. But it wasn't picked up. That's a real good idea.
Sheldon Mendoza, contact me, futsal 868
Nice.
78 Sport. That is my number for anybody. That's how serious I am about sport. 78 Sport. That's 787-7678. But that's a brilliant idea. But when it comes to that aspect of sport and injuries and taking care of yourself, as with everything else, if you're nobody, you're nobody.
Yeah.
And athlete management is very important. Another aspect of sport.
Yeah.
Another business side of sport. But athlete management starts with oneself.
When
Right.
if you get injured lineman on the corner, I don't have a problem with
Yeah,
that.
I know, but even when it is you get injured, while it is you are there participating, you have to understand what athlete management means. You understand? You have to understand your brand, the legal component of that. How do you protect that? You understand what I'm saying? Financial management of your resources, because you are a brand, you are an asset, and how do you protect your asset? And sometimes we and this is a very important topic in the Black community, because it's not only seen in the Caribbean context, but it's also seen in the first world context in terms of athletes who have become successful from terms of financial management and those who will not.
Yeah. We've seen plenty of that
We've
now.
seen plenty of it now. We have to applaud those who are doing extremely well and have
After
done
their
who
life in sport.
you understand, and doing it Bravo is one of them. And we also have to look to the ones who and learn from the ones who have not. But again, that starts from young. I look at Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt did not take any outside management, just like the same thing as LeBron James. He empowered
The people around
the
him.
people around him.
Beautiful
Kanye,
story.
same
but-
thing.
So that they know, because he now could trust them with his life and his money, and they all grew up together.
Yeah.
But you have to also understand that mindset, or the ability to change mindset, begins with yourself.
It does.
So even from the community standpoint of sport in Trinidad and Tobago, sports in the Black community, it starts again with you and the unit of the family. Because I'm sure if it is we trace it back, right? Usain Bolt understood what he wanted out of life, and he did not stray from that. It's the same
At
thing as
all.
LeBron James.
Yeah.
So sometimes we look at the end product, not recognizing the psychological
You
and,
always-
and the social
You always
aspect.
talking that.
The beast that they
Yeah.
were before, and the beast that they became, because Shepherd David and King David is the same person, but at different stages of the journey.
Right.
And Shepherd David, the girlfriend who was with Shepherd David, and the queen who was with King David, also were two different, were the same person, but at the same point in time, they also had to be at different stages in their life or the journey. Thus, the people who you are, the people who are around you, in terms of this aspect of sport,
Yeah.
you have to be mindful of that.
Your circle.
Your circle, right? And I want us to be very, very, very cognizant of the fact that sport is a mirror image of life. And something you spoke about in terms of mediocrity, in terms of how you care about how a coach takes care of his team, you understand what I'm saying? A man missed 10 tries in front of the goal. How do you deal with that? Was the emotional intelligence going to deal with that? But I'm saying all that to say, because we also spoke about the Icelandic experience after that. Bring it back straight to home. How can we use sport to get rid of the mediocrity in terms of how it is we serve ourselves and people around us?
That's our teamwork. That I don't think one person, because it's a engine, right? So yeah, the coaching staff, yeah, the parents, because I see it now. If I tell you, the only thing missing right now in the Spartans movement is that little intensity, that little killer instinct. Where we touch down, we real bad. All you know we reach, right? That is the only thing that I think missing. And once they capture that, but the thing is, all the components there, because the coaching team is monsters. Men like Pompey and Coach Axe. Coach is the beast, Axe is the beast. But some of the parents can't deal with him because he's rough. You understand? Which is why in the States, some of them coaches will tell you when they drop your chair and you have to ride out. Go and leave the child. Let me do my work. Right? So you have the coaching staff, you have the parents. That is the first two elements that need to be working together. Because the coach can't be singing one song and the parents singing a different song. You understand me? The coach had to be singing, hey, we're going and stamp out royalty. We're going and stamp out NCA. And the parents now, when they go home, they're singing that in the child ears too.
Reinforce it.
Reinforce. Hey, Amari. Dude, nah. You're beating them next time. You understand?
But with integrity.
With integrity.
And fair play.
And fair play, correct. Right? You're beating them with fundamentals. No roughness and no undercover thing. You're dealing with it above board. And then you have the players. And then from there is the community. Because what I see, look my pause read. Well, you can't see that long sleeve.
Sunday.
That Sunday, partner,
Yeah.
I vex I didn't go the Thursday because they went. My whole family went, I stay and work. Right? For obvious reasons.
Of course.
But when them tell me what I miss, the only thing I do is I cry. The only thing I do is cry because my son tear up. Tear up, he's our next one. I do ever get to see him play because I just never know when he a game. Right? And I tell him he had to correct that because we have a machine moving behind we that anytime he say we are game Friday, it's about 30 are we showing up. Wherever the colours is, we wearing it. We might not have the uniform.
But let me get it even a little better than that now.
Go ahead.
Right? Because I grew up literally next to a basketball
Come and say
court.
axe good too, yes.
Right? I'm talking about when I opened my back door, the court, which at the time was the most popular court in Sawa, was like 6 feet away. Right? You didn't even need 30 people. It would be nice to have 30 people.
Of course.
I want to say that. You see support. I tell you, all it had one day. My mother and them never really used to watch me play basketball because they come from the school that focus on your academics and thing, and I was good in academics. So focus on that. And one day I sweated. And she just so choose that day that I having a monster day. Just stand up. And I hear Miss Ann Ball. But Dexter tell my father. But Dexter, the boy could play. But I feel like I could have fly, boy. So that support, watch me now, I know about that. I mean, I remember we go in Success, and this is outside of sport, but the same idea. And you had to do Success was celebrating 20 years or something, so 92 or 93. And you had to do a little drawing or painting about the school. My grandfather being a world renowned artist. He'd help me. He watched me do it and think, that man come in school, boy. I was disappointed because I was looking for my mother. When I see Grandpa, and Grandpa find my work out of everything, because just so up mine going up on the wall in the hall.
Yeah.
And Grandpa find my work and looking back now and see me watching him and calling me, come, that feeling. And that's what I think we're not giving our children, boy.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because we... Go ahead.
As a player, when you see your parent come,
Come on.
you doing all that behind the scenes. I remember they not seeing you training and thing, right?
Right.
They paying in all that money behind it and thing. So when you playing, you might be having an off game. You know, you're getting down on yourself, but you look in the sand and you see your father or something.
Yeah.
But you're gonna I'm taking you out of that completely.
Yes.
Yeah, you no self you want to show them what you're training for.
Yeah. And you know, he say something there, and I go back to when he used to play hockey, because you used to play hockey too,
Right.
For Fatima and Malvern. And it had a game in the hockey center in Takari, day. And I sit down and I say, the first time I watching him play, and I saying, but wait, the man bad.
Right.
Boy, I started getting bad up in the stand. Yeah, boy.
And nothing could tie up better
And
than
he
that.
hate me.
And he know nothing about the hockey yet.
No, me don't know.
But you just seen your child.
Yeah.
You
And
understand?
boy, that feeling, boy, both ways, that feeling real.
Yeah.
And let's bring it back to home.
Yeah.
Sport in the black society.
Right.
We need that level of love and support
involvement.
and involvement. Because when Betty Sue, when Mary take Betty Sue to swimming, and then to gymnastics, and then to ballerina, but we sending Mark with the grandmother
Yeah.
to
Who
football.
really had the energy and
or calling the coach and say, Coach, when you come and pick him up,
Yeah.
but we're not there.
no.
What are we doing?
Yeah. It's where we place the value.
What are we doing? That's why I take the time to structure the conversation and end in some way, cannot end, but with the family,
Yes.
the family unit.
The
because
unit, yeah.
Well, as you say, family, right? I just want to look my mother there. Mommy, you not want to be sorry for. You was doing what you know.
yeah.
But what we do now? Before we do anything else, now what we take a break.
Yeah.
And now what we come back with the bonfire. And then go back into that, because you see that family thing in the sports, I believe it's really important.
Very.
All right.
Let me do that. Yeah.
Drop the the not Soca Warriors. Now is the next one? The Strike Squad. The second. Yeah, we go finish with the Bravo.
This one?
Yeah, drop that one.
This one dedicated to all Strike Force Massive. Man like Clayton Morris, Dwight York, Dexter Lee, and Maurice Alabi for the victory. Play ball!
Victory to the Strike Force of TNT. Because we know for sure we on the road to Italy. We got the unseen lowest to put it in the net for we. And bring pride and joy to the people in this country. Now, pass the ball to the left. Pass the ball to the right. Pass the ball, make me do it same way. We are gonna play whether night or day. Victory to the Strike Force of TNT. Because we know for sure we on the road to Italy. We got the unseen lowest to put it in the net for we. And bring pride and joy to the people in this country. Check the danger, boy. Let's up in the area. Check the danger, boy. Let's up in the area. Here we go. We just keep on fighting. And our team is as fast as lightning. On and on. On and on. Check the danger, boy. Just a lean at the area. Check the danger, boy. Just a lean at the area.
Licks like fire, tell you, licks like pizza. We are the best in the West Indies. What they do? Licks like fire, me say, licks like pizza. We are the best in the West Indies.
Check the danger, boy. I'll be in the area. Check the danger, boy. I'll be in the area. We just keep on fighting. And our team is as fast as lightning. On and on. On and on. On and on. They believe them are rough. They believe them are rough. But them not tough like we. Them not tough like we. Cause anytime we come dangerous. And anytime we come cut and caress. Trinbago is so good, we make them so nervous. Cause when we have to play, we make them afraid of us. When we put on a beat, they can jump to the feet, hear them say, play ball. And when TNT's go and the crowd start to roar, hear them say, two more.
Yes, that was a victory. And now we're going with a new dance to celebrate. Watch me now. We will beat them with these. Licks like fire, Mr. Licks like this. We put in a one, we put in a two. And when we get the victory, everybody start to dance. Everybody come on to the football dance. We do the football dance. We do the football dance. Everybody go be doing the football dance. And when they do the football dance, everybody singing. Out of them out, this is what them saying. TNT. We want a goal, we put it in one, we put it in two. TNT. We want a goal. Watch me now. Me say we get them two, come say we get them three. That's Selma carry me to Italy. Me say we get them two, come say we get them three. That's Selma carry me to Italy. Football dance, you do the football dance. Everybody doing the football dance.
Yes, OUR family.
We are back.
We out and bad today. We had 25 people on the chat though. Well, 24. Dropped down by one day. Thanks everybody for staying tuned. Please remember to like and share the video
and comment. Let the algorithm see, all the talking.
Yeah.
Lal in the house, Jason.
Yeah.
I'm proud of your works, my brother. I'll tell you that idea. I want to say it loud. Today is also Plumber Banton birthday.
Hey, Big up Akil Millington, aka the plumbing god.
Yeah. Blessings, King, blessings, more life and good health.
Right, so all that niceness
Today
is followed by...
we starting a new segment today. I want to say inspired by the two Jamets.
No, if it's inspired by the ladies, it's inspired by the ladies.
Big up the Jamets.
Big up the Jamets and the Roman cooks.
Yeah, these are Bonafire segment.
Yeah.
We do it different at different times, but today we wanted to start with
Go ahead.
right. Yeah. The fact that
I just searched for this one.
the fact that in 2022, mere days after spending millions of dollars for all that pomp and fanfare to quote unquote celebrate independence from the very colonial people that we know put rules and legislation and taking place to keep us down. School open. And we could see as one of the reports from school open, a child can go to school because he have a little afro.
And it's not even, he ain't even sponge up the afro. Right?
Yeah, we just have a little afro.
The afro, the man afro, proper.
You understand what I'm saying to you?
Proper, well-rounded, shape up thing, man.
They just want to tell you that, there is the school rules and regulation, but if it don't make sense, and if that is against us as black people,
Well, what's
right?
that?
So
And then they will have a red man.
Yeah.
With long flowing locks.
Yeah.
You understand
Cool
what I'm
and
saying?
easy.
Cool normal.
Yeah.
Right?
Or East Indian who have hair in a ponytail.
Exactly. It's the same thing. It's the same here growing out here.
Yeah. It's how it grows.
CIC St. Mary's College, that can never be right today. You could not justify having a rule like that for something growing naturally out of somebody. And it, as you say, it's not that it was messy.
Dada, if it was no dada head, it was proper.
There's not 1917, there's not 1969. You know?
Yeah.
The year before the Black Power Revolution. There's 2022, 50-something years later.
Wait a Rastaman in the bank,
Yeah.
Rastaman in the Senate.
You understand?
How them things
Man,
still
it's a big
happening?
dread Akin as Prime Minister, but you telling me to come to school and get education. A youth man had to go through the trauma still in 2022. As somebody telling him that hairstyle not professional.
So the question I have to ask with that as a CIC alma mater, and I didn't even see it in my WhatsApp group, which is very disturbing.
And the father went to St. Mary's too, eh?
It's
and he
very-
talk about the teacher, one of all the teachers who had an afro for all the years.
Yeah, it's very disturbing as a former alma mater teacher at St. Mary's College, Port of Spain, for what I'm hearing. Obviously, I had to check the report to it. But with what is being said, we have to ask the question. I have to ask the question: is it the rules of the school? Is it the rules of the Catholic board? Is it the rules and regulations of the Ministry of Education? Now, even if those are the rules, there is the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. And if you're speaking to a young man's hair style, if it is you let him go in that first quote unquote infraction, then where is your emotional intelligence? Where is your emotional intelligence as a parent, as a leader, as a instructor?
When they say let him go, what you mean?
And he wasn't allowed in school, right?
No.
Exactly. So my question would be: was this his first infraction? And I use that word very loosely, right?
Informed.
No, in terms of that's the first day of school, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh.
Is the first day of school, the first day return to physical school, right? You wouldn't even have the emotional intelligence to be able to say, let me have a conversation with you and your parent. You're just going to stop him from entering the school? No.
That tells me
At least
something
give him a
though,
warning.
for me.
Thank
That
you very much,
says,
Tyler. Exactly. You understand? Where's the conversation?
right, but
Yeah.
that again, to me, everything is psychological and power play on your mental and emotional sense, right? That is a power play on your mental and emotional sense. So there's no chance.
And the thing
in that.
is,
There's no,
we see that happen in the corporate space, and they had to change everything because
said.
every single black lawyer that it had in the country at that point in time put themselves up to handle that case, right? Where they went after the youth man from Colfire. Remember that? Because you have a code of conduct thing in your rule book. and it speaks to being neatly and well groomed. I am a barber. Hold on. I am a barber. And you see them two terms there? It is relative. That's the first thing. And it is also up to the person, because my hair neat. Yeah. Right now, my hair neat, ain't?
Yeah.
All right, I have a ras, but it
Karen,
pull back neatly.
stop. I am now opening up. I am now seeing for myself.
Mm-hmm.
This is CIC?
Yeah.
The logo change, yo. The monogram change, yo.
Where we go read it, we go correct any mistakes if it had a mistake on it.
Yeah, because the write-up speak to St. Mary's.
No, it was saying. Okay. Yeah, they're saying there's two identical twins. Something. But what I'm seeing, viewers, and if it is, you could check it out for yourself, is that my two kings next to me are correct. These young men, and Ken was alluding to it. Sorry for cutting.
No, it's fine.
Well groomed.
They are well groomed.
Yeah.
But even before we reached that, the idea that we have a well groomed was not made by people with hair like us.
No.
We did not make the laws and regulations and ideas of professionalism about what it means to be well groomed with the type of hair that African people have. So you have people that didn't like it against it, have a natural prejudice against it, making them rules on them. How? And we still, and again, that's why I keep telling them, well, they really sure we're an independent republic, right?
But this will look like St. Mary's. This look like St. Mary's Trinidad.
We go further into it.
Yeah. But that is just one example, because it's still happening.
Yeah, that's a
right.
fact.
It's still happening.
Would it be in Trinidad and Tobago or not?
Or not.
Yeah, it's still happening.
Right.
And it's still happening here too.
Yeah.
Even if the story didn't originate here, we still have these things and them happening today.
Yeah.
You're watching me, I remember working in a phone company, and I didn't feel to go through the rigors of plaiting my hair them time. So my hair, my afro's bigger. I buy my long afro comb, and I neat. And that manager only watching me, boy. When I mean watching, she only watching. Praying, I'm get some money from TSTT. But she come and tell me something.
Please.
Please. You understand what I'm saying? This was 2015.
Yeah.
This is not to say this was 20 years ago. We still facing these things and them here. You are if you put on a traditional way as an African person to go to work, you are not professionally dressed.
Rubbish.
But no African person made up that dress code. That dress code is something passed down from colonialism.
Yeah.
We claim to be an independent country that moved away from the ideals and thinking of the colonial people we were under.
Yeah.
That is not what we do in 1962. I don't know. I had to question it now. Yeah. So that was the first part of Bonfire, because some people like to say it's small. That is small thing, right?
No,
but it's not small thing. Because can you imagine, as I like how Geoffrey pointed out now, first day and you're excited to go to school. My daughter cry. First day of school and them teachers and them take the day to reflect. And I reach in front of that school at G and see 5 children in the courtyard and 2 teachers on the board where they're not no teachers here now. And I telling my daughter we had to go back home. Oh, that child cry. I mean, cry. I feeling bad.
Yeah.
You know, the first day of school. Yeah, so let me go now.
Yeah. Drop it down. Right, so back to the lecture at hand. We dealing with sport. And what was the point we said we were coming back with?
Family.
We're coming back to the family, but we want to read the 2 comments on the
Sure.
I would love to.
All right. Which one? The from Sheldon Mendoza?
For both of the last 2.
All right. So Sheldon said, no. I'm gonna go back up. Right. Brandon first said that there are groups of persons who have come together and presented a strategy to combine sport, community, and schools, but sadly they are not in the decision-making positions. And then Sheldon responded and said, my friend Carla Bridgewater and I also had an idea for a reality show on how to become a footballer, which can still be done today and will open up many avenues for young players.
So I want to stop and I've always said this, and I say to even this week, I am lecturing Introduction to Sport Management at the Open Campus. And I always tell my students that sport is an enduring industry. One of the problems that we have with sport in Trinidad and Tobago is that we know what we're supposed to do, but because of a lot of rum shop talk,
Yes.
we actually don't do it. So let me give you all the example. For me, my personal example is that when I lost my job in the oil and gas industry the first time, I went to a popular urban radio station football tournament, a 7-a-side tournament. And this is the second quarter of the year. Brothers, I have bills to pay. Son, at that point in time was less than 10. Yeah. Your brother overspend whilst in the oil and gas industry, and something with the oil and gas industry is that when they bust it through, they'll give you forewarning. So I ain't get no forewarning to say I go and save 3 months worth of salary, right? Call in one moment, that's it. Truth gone. And so anyway, so I went to the event, saw the event, and the Holy Spirit was like, yo, you could do this. Brother man, you could do this. I left the event immediately and put pen to paper, and I was looking to see an event or a football event that I could have done, because at that point in time, 7-a-side football was real popular.
Right.
Soccer picnics, as we used to call them back in the days. Right. And I bounced up futsal. Imagine back then, this is 2009, bounced up futsal, the sport of futsal. And I decided to do it. But I reached out to principals, gatekeepers of futsal in Trinidad and Tobago at that time. They invited me to a meeting in Port of Spain on Saturday morning, brothers. I am leaving Freeport to travel to Port of Spain. Saturday morning, I'm supposed to reach before 11 o'clock. Only to reach there for them to tell me it cannot be done. So like I just send my email. Tyler, you could have just sent my email.
Yeah, another thing that could have been an email.
But I recognize that as some of the older heads' strategy. That's one of the few strategies that they have whereby they always tell us that it can't be done.
Right.
And mind you, this is a story. I'm speaking for the last 2 comments that was read by Karen. Fast forward to that same year, November of that same year, the very first futsal invitational was held. Yeah? I'm saying all to say is it is time that we take responsibility for our actions.
Oh, God.
As good as that sound, the second to last comment made by Karen, is that we cannot wait for somebody to do it. Right? Because again, our culture is we want to be able to have the biggest, best event.
Right.
Why not start with a pilot? Why not start with a pilot project with the same very idea, right? That is manageable both in terms of resources, human capability, in terms of human resources, financial resources, other resources, to get it done. Document it. We live in a technological age whereby everybody have a cell phone. Take pictures, take videos, create a proper aftermath, video aftermath, right? And put it up there so that the masses could see it, one, and also any potential sponsors could see it, but the fact that they get it done.
Yeah.
So that the same individuals will be able to show you, hey, when we did our very first futsal event and we sent out sponsorship letters, people thought it was a typo. Sponsors asked me if it was a typo. It took us years enough to reach this stage.
Would they wanted it to be football?
Well, I don't know, because Karen, you know, Karen, you cut in my hair how much years now, and you see the struggle we have, and we still continue to grow. But what I'm saying to the individuals who have the ideas, who are listening to us now live and also afterwards, is that always, please, I'm begging you as I speak to my students, is sport is an enduring industry. Start somewhere
with what you have. Start where you are with what you have, yeah.
And if it is you don't have it, find somebody who willing to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell my students is LinkedIn. Stay out, keep away from Facebook. If you really want to be serious about where you're at, start with LinkedIn and link up with individuals who want to be able to support your vision.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of persons outside of Trinidad Tobago because of the culture of information sharing, which we don't have in Trinidad Tobago. They want to be able to help. They want to be able to help. And for the two individuals who are spoken to, again, I am willing to help. Because you know why? I want to do it. I am going to be saying I have selfish ambitions. My selfish ambitions is I want to see futsal move to the next level. And if you have an opportunity, if you have an idea that can help develop futsal, I want to go. But the fact of the matter is we have to do.
So based on that have to do, I want to give a real big shout out to one of our upcoming guests who on here now, Jamil Young, from Academy of Football Excellence in Belmont. Again, not just talking it, doing it. Young brother that actually have a coaching school and the training and the playing games and they're actually doing the work.
Yes.
You understand? So
this is something different to bring back Belmont.
yes. But all of them is one. All of
Okay.
them know one another. They're involved. They might have cross-pollination and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I just want to deal with that point before we move back to the idea and the concept of family. Idea and concept of family. Because Black to Black have spoken to and will continue to speak to different aspects of the Black nation, the Black society, the community at large that is served and willing to serve and wants to serve us.
Yeah.
It begins and ends with us as family. And when it is we talking about the sporting context, I am begging parents to be more actively involved in your child's life. Take your child to sporting endeavors, live events. Watch sports with them. You watching EPL, English Premier League, you watching La Liga, you watching any other league. Let them
Man, shit, if your whole family to like a particular side.
well, watchmen are
But that was Arabi.
at least watchmen are
I don't chain up in that, but
my-
I don't chain this on your like.
Yeah, Tyler. Very father, why?
Yeah.
Is he sit with my brother? No, my little brother. The two children wearing onesies. Arsenal since they're born.
Why is that?
That man no side.
But is
Watchmen
that?
are.
But that's how it is in England.
Yeah.
You feel you could be growing up across the road from Tottenham or one of them, and your son telling you about he's a Chelsea fan.
What I mean is
He had to move out.
it's all about choice.
He had to move out. He had to go up the road, boy.
Independence Day, right? In the independence market. So I see a fella in a girl. She have on a Liverpool jersey.
Oh my God.
And he have on a Manchester jersey. So all I can ask is, how that does work? You know, the both of them said the same time? We don't talk about it.
Because they can't. And nobody say that.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah,
Don't
but
talk about
agreed.
it.
All that is
but
part
the
of it.
fact of the matter is, for us to even spend a few seconds laughing about it,
Yeah.
and for young blood to be able to jump in and defend pops right, viciously, it says a lot that we have to just as we find time to do anything else, let us use sport as an opportunity to bring our families together.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Talking about sport development, as you remember what I said, long-term athletic development, whether it be formal play or informal play under the age of 14, some books say 14, 13, try and get your child involved in multiple sporting disciplines.
Right.
Let them go and learn to swim. Learning to swim don't mean they go and spend 2 years in the pool. You just go and learn to swim. You understand what I'm saying? You take them to go and play tennis. And you're not saying that you want them to be the next Serena Williams, but you just at least they know the rules and regulations to tennis. At least they could be able to hit the. You understand what I'm saying?
I wonder if
That's
my
simple.
sister had known that, boy. My sister living in New York, and I remember at that time she saying, like, is every week my nephew want to play a new sport.
Yeah.
But and that is it.
You understand? So you, she buys
Because he
football
wants to
game.
try it.
They're exploring.
Yeah.
They're exploring.
Yeah, yeah.
They're exploring. And there are some times whereby you have to be structured. You have to be structured. And sometimes you just know a simple thing as going to play mini golf. You understand? A simple thing as that. But all I'm saying is going back to what we started off with, the historical context of sport and physical education. It starts in the home. Understand that you can be able to use sport to build proper mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
as well as better citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, starting within your own home.
Better bonds.
You know why?
In your own home.
'Cause sport is a discipline.
Correct.
Just like anything else.
Correct.
It is a discipline. And when you do it correctly, everything is falling in your lap.
Correct. So with strategy, and there's another course I teach as well. With strategic thinking, always start with the end in mind. The end in mind is we want to have a better black nation.
Right.
We want to have a better family. So Karen, your end in mind is when you retire, where do you see your children? I went to a funeral yesterday, and condolences to Maraj family, who father the patriarch of the family, who was a national youth cricketing coach, as a matter of fact, to the point where Nicholas Puran came and gave his respects. Yeah, right. That shows because he passed on. He served many persons through sport. But the starting with the end in first means, what do you want your children to be, Karen? And how are you going to map out the different activities to have your children be better? I keep saying it over and over again, this one is sport for me. The other aspect you all deal with is finance and mental, all the other aspects. For me, is sport. How then can sport, as a parent, you can use sport to make your child better? Remember, as I said before, that's the start of gymnastics and physical education. So parents, I'm asking you all, please start with the end in mind. How, not necessarily wanting them to be the next Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, Lionel Messi,
Right.
but how can sport help make your child or children a better human being?
Yeah.
Forget about the forget about what the government doing, what the government ain't doing. Forget about that.
I'm glad you bring up that topic because we touched it just now, but we didn't bring it on live. I don't know where that mentality come from,
I know.
right? Some say it start from since the father of the nation,
Exactly.
right? Where we have this dependency, boy, on the public service and the government, specific to, I want to do something. It might be something big in my heart, and the only way that something could happen is that the Ministry of Sport had to give me the money, or the Ministry of Education had to give me the money, or this one from Ministry or wherever had to give me the money. So, corporate social responsibility. What's going on with the whole private sector?
But you know, I want to jump on something and kind of switch up a little bit because it hit me because of time as well. Because remember, we said we was going to speak about the Black Nation and health,
Right.
which are ties into sport, right?
Right.
We have a lot of lifestyle diseases. That is
In
affecting,
this community
that is
specific,
affecting
yeah.
our community.
Yeah.
And we have to be mindful of what we eat and how we eat. We have to be mindful of how much physical activity we engage in. We have to be mindful of that. Sport is not just about the recreational aspect of it, guys.
Right.
Yeah, we have to be mindful of how long we are going to be here on this earth, and how we can be able to use sport, which is the health aspect of it, to be able to make ourselves better.
Right.
Yeah, very, 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 very important. Because when it is you get up 5 o'clock in the morning, a Saturday morning you go on Lady Chancellor, between 5 and 7, it is the who's who of Trinidad
Walking up
there, because they understand the value of physical education. They understand the value of sport. They understand the value of health. Every developmental book or self-help book talk about that balance of mind, body, and soul.
Right.
So why is it that we trying to run down money, saying that when it is here we're going on, when it is I get older, I'll be able to enjoy life. You might not even reach to get older to enjoy life. Right? We have to change that mindset that tomorrow is when it is we're going to start.
Tomorrow is not yours, but
Tomorrow is not any one of our own. So
Correct.
I'm saying that if it is the book says it, if it is we can see other people doing it, please invest in yourself, invest in your family by taking care of your health through the involvement in sport.
Yeah.
feel like you're talking to me, but
one lap around the savannah, watching how we eat, how much rest they get, just having a productive lifestyle.
Yeah, I find I sleep in. I do a little more.
Where?
Sleep wise, because when I was working for people, I used to say sleeping is practicing to death. Because I get that from Neil Jones, which was one of the greatest insurance agents to ever live in this country. Clico, rest in peace. He used to say that. He said, if you do sell a policy today, you can't eat. That is how serious it was. So it's extreme, and people is find it extreme, but when you really sit down and think about it, it's those extremities that create the diamonds like LeBron and Messi and Ronaldo.
But our problem is, as I think you or Karen alluded to, is that we don't get the total backstory. So we watch things. So while it might be true based on how you're working, that if you don't sell a policy, you don't eat. But now that we getting older, me and you talking this recently, we see how important sleep is.
Very important. Let me tell you what you know. These days, I get up at 4:30. I need gym by 4:30. If I was Tyler age and somebody tell me I'm going to the gym at 4:30, I'll tell them who they talking about.
Like some bad words.
Some bad words. But interestingly enough, at 4, when I start my day at 4:30, I in bed by 9, you know.
You have to be.
Right? No, but
you remember you're shifting everything this way?
Yeah, but I feel so good. I mean, not everybody could do that.
Yeah, of course.
But at least I have a balance. At least I have a balance. And my body telling me you're going to need the rest. But at least I'm putting in my work, mind, body, and soul.
What I call that, and it's something, is our next thing we have to deal with. Somebody saying, and is the truth, we got to have a part two. One of the things we don't accept in the black community is the speed of life that changed. The change of the speed of life. Whereas I remember growing up, my father alone was working, and my mother home with the 5 children. We getting to go outside and play. We coming from school, we have a certain time to do homework, we have a certain time to play, we have a certain time to do chores and things. But when nobody no home in the evening, no, that child had to stay by a daycare till 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. And then you still have to go, you ain't reach home yet, no? You're now going by the daycare and thing. That way you're talking now, they almost comes impossible.
So I hear you loud and clear, which again, historically was the reason of sport. Because remember, sport was only afforded to those who have time. The elites. So again, guys, when it is you look over this video, you understand why I'm saying the sport.
We don't disagree at all.
Was always about for those who have time.
Yeah. Well, you hear me, he said, I could move from me in my chair, you
understand? Because the elite in society in Trinidad Tobago decided to start the day earlier.
Yeah.
And go and take a one walk up the Queen's Park and come back down, stretch, and go and pump. Right? How are we going to do that? Because all of us are 24 hours,
Yeah.
Okay? So I understand, ma'am, you may not be able to afford that opportunity, but when your child's sleeping, YouTube have a lot of activities, videos, programs for 1 week, programs for 1 month, programs for 3 months that you could do home. Tyler shaking head because them young boys, them young people know it. That you could do home, you could do home workouts.
Yeah.
That you could build a sweat.
Brother, my brethren sent me a freaking 10-minute, not 10 minute, a high intensity workout.
Yes.
You're not doing nothing other than calisthenics, natural body.
Yes.
Jumping jacks, house and it fail. Brother, I get tired watching that. I was like, I could see myself getting up in the morning at 6 o'clock. And by 6:15, I done work out.
It is mindset. We have to change our mindset.
Yeah.
And I think that most of our guests and most of your guys' guests will be speaking about that in different spheres.
Yeah.
But we have to change our mindset.
Of
How
course.
are we going to use sport to help develop ourselves and our families?
All right.
Right, and to our elders and our leaders, in the political sphere. Okay, we understand that you may not like sport. For those who don't like it, yes, but understand at the same point in time, historically, nations rebuild their strength, their borders by development of sport. For those who like sport, who have affinity to sport, I ask and beg you all to do more. For those who have ideas of how to be able to enact sport, develop sport, I implore you, please just do. Do, because damn if you don't, damn if you do. My simple answer is just do.
Just do it.
Because the bottom line is, it only takes a few persons to say strippiness, you know. But the amount of people that you help, the amount of people you help far outweighs the strippiness people talk. So just do.
So we at the closing time, you know, big respect to Jamel here. He gave me some things here. You up? Well, he up when? Next or after?
I'll tell you.
But you know, Crystal see, they don't say I'm sensing a part 2 is necessary. I agree with that. Right. Kyle Grant here, that gimme comes from the excessive free handouts. That's where it come from. It enables people. Now I have no problem with helping people who need the help, but we don't seem to have accountability now. So you're asking for help, but we some of that money going in certain places that don't need it now.
Yeah.
That whole other. Right? Yeah, Taika, we go talk.
Yeah, Taika wanna work out.
Right? And I see that some Arsenal fans.
Oh
in there.
God, oh God.
Gunners for life.
Oh God.
Right, but leave you with something now, you know, before we go with those, you know, you was done closing with positives already and things we could do. Leave us with something. We try to close every show with a good idea for betterment.
I am tired of. I have family from the hill. Because the hill traditionally and historically is the small islanders. And my small island is St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I have family all dotted all over the Prisca land, all over the hills. And one of the interesting things about it is that we need to see how sport can be able to use to unite Port of Spain East and also Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
And not just keep pumping unnecessary programs that the citizens
Not see the benefits.
Or do not want to be a part of it. And only thinking that they don't bring them to the table. So my idea is, please bring the youth to the table for them. Remember football for us by us?
Yeah.
Let us bring them in the conversation of how they see their future. Let us take the time to research what the past was, what worked in the past, so that we can make ourselves a better Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah? Start, let our steps be ordered, and our path be directed. Start with the end in mind, and build strategies and execute those strategies, because 80% of strategic plans are not executed because of lack of implementation and proper implementation. So we need to start to be implementers of great conversations that the Black to Black brothers are doing. So we need to be able to have implementers, even though the Pareto law exists where 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people. 20% step up. Let me get the 80% work done. Forget about who not doing.
Yeah.
Let's just get it done.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
As a man said earlier in the chat day, when after the show done, you just feel like kind of superpower kind of way.
Yeah. So
Hey.
I want to, again, with that said, that's what I really, and I was glad that they was here today. Jamel Young and Jason Padmo, because them as brothers are actually doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
We will talk to them.
Link up. 787-767-878 sport.
So shall
That's
Geoffrey Edwards.
Just trust me, brothers. Or let's send my WhatsApp right now, my phone in tatters. But my email address is also futsaltt@gmail.com. That's futsaltt@gmail.com. Send me a message. I ready to rumble.
Right. So all your more life in good health, more love. We can only talk that, you know, in the black community, we do like to deal that love thing amongst one another.
It's all over.
Right. More life, more love.
Karen, I love you.
Yeah, my brother.
My brother, I love you.
We can't be
Love you, my
afraid
brother.
to do that now, you know?
Yeah.
And talk
It's
that
true.
now.
That's
Right?
all.
But yeah, that real bias, they too know about that. Yeah. Right, so let's be safe out there.
Yeah.
Until the next time.
And before we go, as we talk about family, my wife is my biggest supporter.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I know she's always tuning into the show and thing. So anytime, love you, honey. Right? And
Don't
tune.
know.
Let me buzz the tune now, man.
Right, so next time.
I can't
Goodness.
remember the dance. Run the track.
958 volt a champion. Champion, 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 champion. Everybody knows say bravo a champion. Champion, 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 champion. Everybody know Chris Cale is a champion. Come on, come on. Champion, me a real champion. Champion, me a real champion. Champion, me a real champion. Don't vex if your name not call. We have to leave them for bad some ball. We love soccer and dancehall. We love cricket and football. Come a dance in a my name we call. Champion, champion. Every trainee and every yard man. Champion, champion. Every BC and every Bajan. Champion, champion. Every trainee and every yard man. Champion, champion. Beanie a champion, Bounty a champion, Marshall is a champion, Bungie is a champion, Pollard is a champion, Lara is a champion, Gale is a champion. Don't forget Michael Jordan, Obama a champion, Mandela a champion, Serena a champion, Wendy a champion, Shelly and a champion, 958 Bolt a champion.